From the Mumbai studios of Republic TV, it's time for The Debate.
You're watching The Debate with me, Shavan Sen, and my colleague Niranjan. Terrorist Yasin Malik, Pakistani stooge, has been sent to his rightful place. But tonight, many are asking, is that really enough? That's our debate number one. 3 debates lined up for you tonight.
It's a big day today, Shavan, and all our viewers. For over 3 decades, millions in India have waited for this moment. Yasin Malik has been sentenced to life. The 3 big debates tonight. It's over for the Pakistani stooge. Biggest Pakistani agent on Indian soil, Yasin Malik, convicted for his terror activity. He will rot in jail. But why are some complaining about it? Why are some attacking our courts? That's debate number 1. Debate number 10. Debate at 10 with Aishwarya. That's debate number 2. Yasin Malik's life sentence is emblematic of the end of the Azadi business in Kashmir. The overground workers, the separatists must read the writing on the wall. And at 10:30, the big political headline. Beyond Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Vadra and their cabal, who's really left in the Vadra Congress? That's at 10:30 p.m. and here are the headlines.
Terrorist Yasin Malik handed life sentence. He will spend the rest of his life in jail.
बहुत पहले होना चाहिए था, इतना टाइम क्यों लग गया? ये तो बहुत पहले एक कानून बन जाना चाहिए था, ताकि एक पत्थर, एक कंकर उठाने में भी डर लगता है इंसान.
Over 30 years after he was responsible for the Kashmiri exodus and genocide, the wheels of justice beginning to move.
Pakistan in mourning as its agent is jailed for life. Its stooges in India are also complaining.
पाकिस्तान में एक आदमी को लिंच किया गया, वहां उन्होंने 6 आदमियों को फांसी दी और 1 दर्जन लोगों को उम्र कैद की सजा दी. यहाँ कितने इखलाक लिंच हो गए अभी तक, बल्कि उनको तो हार पहनाए जाते हैं.
Pakistan and Yasin Malik backer Mehbooba Mufti praising Pakistan's judiciary while running down Indian courts.
As the poster boy of Pakistan's agenda in Kashmir is jailed for life, the Azadi shop is shut once and for all.
16 मई को मैंने कांग्रेस पार्टी से त्याग पत्र दे दिया है.
Once the closest aide of the Gandhis, even Kapil Sibal has dumped the Vadra Congress. He's got a Samajwadi Party ticket to the Rajya Sabha.
Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan's poster boy and puppet has finally been sentenced for life by a court of law. The message is loud and clear. Terrorists will not be spared. The messages are very, very clear. Terrorists like Yasin Malik will not be legitimized anymore. But many are asking, is this really enough?
It's not. And it's the beginning, isn't it, Shavan? It's just one of the cases. Yasin Malik will rot in jail and face rigorous imprisonment. Why shouldn't India celebrate? And why are some wailing? Why are some in mourning? Here's the story so far, and then we debate.
Amidst heavy deployment and massive security checks, terrorist Yasin Malik was brought to the special NIA court. Pakistan's stooge Yasin Malik has been locked up for life in the terror funding case.
2 life imprisonments have been given, and besides that 10 years rigorous imprisonment in 10 offences, besides monetary penalty. And all the punishments will run concurrently.
Terrorist Yasin Malik will rot in jail after facing multiple charges.
Will justify what court has considered, what are the circumstances, whatever has been considered, that will get
What
in the
is the
detail
final
order.
quantum of punishment
2
besides
life imprisonments and 5-10 years, all to run concurrently. 1 life means everything. 10 lakh है और 10,000, 5,000 सब में अलग-अलग है.
The Special NIA court has called the charges that have been leveled against Yasin Malik are of very serious nature. In fact, the crimes that have been committed, they were with the simple intention of striking at the heart of the idea of India and forcefully pushing Jammu and Kashmir out of India. And not just that, all of this was being done with the help of a foreign country, essentially the role that is being played by Pakistan. National Investigation Agency has been able to document how instructions were being passed by the Pakistani establishment through the Pakistan High Commission in the national capital, and all of this was being followed by Yasin Malik and others who've also been charge-sheeted in this case.
The punishment has ensured a semblance of justice for some who have been demanding maximum punishment for the terrorist.
मैं एक ही बात पर टिकी हुई हूँ कि ज़रूर इंसाफ होगा. मुझे खुशी होगी जो मेरे ऑनरेबल जजेस मेरे केस में मुझे इंसाफ देंगे. मैं पहले से ही शुक्रिया अदा कर देती हूँ क्योंकि मुझे पता है इंसाफ होगा.
But Pakistan has launched an all-out campaign for the terrorists they enabled and sponsored. And some in India are following Pakistan's footsteps.
मैंने जुडिशरी के बारे में ये कहा कि पाकिस्तान में एक आदमी को लिंच किया गया, वहाँ उन्होंने 6 आदमियों को फांसी दी और 1 दर्जन लोगों को उम्र कैद की सजा दी. यहाँ कितने इखलाक लिंच हो गए अभी तक 2015 के बाद? तो सजा नहीं दी जाती, उनको गार्लैंड किया जाता है, हार पहनाया जाता है, उनका इस्तेकबाल किया जाता है. यही फर्क है उस जुडिशरी और इस जुडिशरी.
But Yasin Malik has himself admitted and pleaded guilty to the charges like to raising funds for terrorist acts, conspiracy to commit a terrorist act, sedition and more.
इससे ज़्यादा सख्त सज़ा की ज़रूरत थी और ख़ास करके बहुत से ऐसे केस पेंडिंग्स हैं. ये तो टेरर फंडिंग का मामला है, लेकिन जो अपहरण, हत्या, इस प्रकार के जो कई इन पर केस पेंडिंग हैं, उसमें मुझे उम्मीद है कि आने वाले समय में इससे भी सख्त सज़ा इनको सुनाई जाएगी.
The apologists for the Pakistan-funded terrorist must be called out one by one. India will not forget or forgive the crimes Yasin Malik committed.
उसको जो फल जो है आज हमारी न्यायपालिका ने दिया है, आज उसको उम्र कैद की सजा दी गई है.
Yasin Malik being locked for life will be celebrated. Let's debate.
Instead of introducing the panelists right now, I want to give some breaking news updates so that all our panelists are aware of what's going on in the valley as we speak. As we speak, a female TV artist, I repeat, a female TV artist identified as Umbreen has been fired upon by terrorists in Hishru Chadura village. Reports coming in now that she has succumbed, a female artist. And the nephew of Umbreen is 7 years old, who has also received a firearm injury. And Umbreen herself, a TV artist, has succumbed in Chadura, that's in Budgam. That is the breaking news update that I'm bringing to you on top of 9 p.m. along with Shavan, so that everybody knows exactly what Yasin Malik has been doing for the last 3 decades. 3 decades in Kashmir. And joining us on the debate this evening, Nupur Sharma, National Spokesperson, BJP Advocate, Supreme Court, Smita Prakash, Editor, ANI, Sushil Pandit, Kashmiri activist, Amit Raina, Kashmiri activist, Abid Mir Magami, political analyst, leans towards the Congress, live from Budgam. Mohammad Aqib Renzu Shah, political analyst, Srinagar, Farooq Wani, editor-in-chief, Daily Brighter Kashmir, and Sanam Shah, political analyst, leaning towards the Congress, will be joining us live. Okay, let me start with Smita Prakash and then get in Mohammad Aqib Renzu Shah. Smita, you know, when we started our careers, it was roughly around the time when you know, Yasin Malik would be, this poster boy would be often in Delhi, visiting the Pakistan embassy, would be called to conclaves, shaking hands with the former Prime Minister, and contrasting that time, and this is roughly between 2006 and 2008, when he would be there in Delhi, the face of the youth in Kashmir, and contrast that to today. Now, what do you think was lacking in all these years, in the 14 or 15 years in between? Why did it take so long, Smita?
Yes, true that Yasin Malik was considered a kind of a moderate in the early 2000s. In the 1990s, he was in an armed struggle, which he himself has admitted. Nobody internationally wanted to hear our voice on Kashmir at that time. We had literally lost Kashmir on the ground, which is the truth. And internationally, there was no support coming our way at that time. In the 90s, it was a terrible situation. From that point, we climbed our way out of that situation. As far as the early 2000s were concerned, and then even after that, so far as 2008, I think, when in that event he was considered a youth icon. I have myself seen how he was welcomed by the Pakistani High Commissioner in New Delhi, and the entire Hurriyat, at their Pakistan Days functions and things like that, when as journalists we had to go, we would see how they were considered as VIPs. I mean, I have seen myself how the High Commissioner would abandon, while he would be talking to Indian members of Parliament in that reception, he would just leave them and rush to welcome Gilani and Malik and all these people as if they were like bigger than Indian elected members of Parliament. And mind you, when Yasin Malik was invited, even by the Prime Minister in his official residence, it was with the full knowledge of the bureaucracy. It wasn't just a political decision. So at that point of time, if we blame one media organization or one Prime Minister, Yasin Malik is right. He has worked with Indian politicians and Indian bureaucracy across the board. Whether he or whether Gilani Hurriyat they were fated. They were considered as people who could be worked with. The softer element of the freedom struggle. So, there have been historical blunders. Things have changed. Now he will rot in jail and fight his other cases where he could well get, hanged to death. He could get that sentence too. So let us see. Let him fight it out now. But he will rot in jail and not come out. It's not 14 years or 15 years. It's life imprisonment. Rest of his life he will spend in jail.
Why are people mourning today, Renzusha? Why are people mourning? Why is Mehbooba Mufti, and I know you're not a spokesman for the Mehbooba Mufti-led PDP, but why is she praising Pakistan judiciary today? And why isn't anybody, you included, condemning her praising Pakistan judiciary while running down Indian courts? Renzusha.
See, Arnab, let me. First of all, Mehbooba Mufti is not Kashmir, and I have full faith on the judiciary of my country. But let me complete, please. For God's sake, allow me to speak. Yesterday, you saw our young brother, he was killed. Today, our young sister, she was killed. I'm not understanding what BJP is doing. I request my countrymen, for God's sake, save us, save our Kashmiris. We all will be killed. You have to come. You have to wake up. We all Kashmiris will be killed. BJP is doing nothing. On their manifestos, it was clear they will work against the Pakistani terrorism over. But what they are doing? See, you have to accept it. If Yasin Malik is guilty today, I have full faith on my judiciary. But where is the epicenter? It's in Pakistan. Today, again, one of my younger sisters, she got killed. Yesterday, one of my younger brother got killed. We all are Kashmiris. Tomorrow it will be Aqib Renzusha will be killed. You people need to raise your voice. You need to save us. I request my countrymen, for God's sake, come and speak and please save us, because we are in a fear. We are living a life of chaos. We cannot go out. I am a 25-year-old politician over here, but I am in chaos. I cannot work for my people. Mehbooba Mufti, she is staying in her cozy room. She can speak anything. But you need to talk about youth and BJP. जो बड़े बड़े दावे कर रहे थे, जुमले दिखा रहे थे इलेक्शन के मैनिफेस्टो के दौरान, हम मर रहे हैं ना, अभी क्या कर रहे हैं वो? मेरे भाई मर रहे हैं, टुमारो इट कैन बी मी, वी कश्मीरीज आर सफरिंग, क्या कर रहे हैं वो हमारे लिए? फॉर गॉड सेक, मुझे आज कोई सियासत नहीं करनी है, हमारे दिल रोते हैं, वी आर लिविंग, हमें नहीं पता हमें कब मारा जाएगा, वी सीरियसली नो व्हेन वी विल बी किल्ड, यू डोंट नो व्हेन यू विल लॉस आकिब रिंजुशा, आई विल बी नो मोर debating with you people because nobody is working for that. Tell me, कितने लोग मारे गए, कौन बात करता है? And it's clear Pakistan is behind. कौन बोलता है? कोई बोलता है? कोई पॉलिसी है इस पे? कोई पॉलिसी नहीं है. हमें तो खुला छोड़ा गया है मारने के लिए, क्योंकि हम तो सियासत करते हैं, हम अच्छा बोलते हैं. Nobody. महबूबा जी तो Z केटी में बैठी है, Z+ केटी में बैठी है.
Renzo, what are you saying? I'll let you speak for about a minute. Shawan, I'll let you speak for a minute. You've spoken for a minute, and exactly what you're asking for, Pakistan and Pakistan's terror agents to be punished, has happened today. They're saying Pakistan is shooting, killing Kashmiris. Yes, they used people like Yasin Malik, no? Didn't they? Shawan. Yes, Shawan.
Obviously.
Can I just add to one point? You know, you may have full faith in the judiciary. That's good. Finally, we have someone at least coming on this broadcast to actually accept the fact that this is a court verdict that was much awaited, but many would say much delayed also. I'll come to that. The fact of the matter is that if today Yasin Malik was able to do all of this for the last 30 years, it would not have been because of the political patronage that he was enjoying. And Nupur, I want you to come in right now. We have seen, when we spoke to some of the people who've witnessed this criminal act, this terrorist act of Yasin Malik up front, they say that this is really not enough, Nupur, because at the end of the day, we're talking about a man who was walking free for 30 years. For someone who's covered Jammu and Kashmir for over a decade right now, there was a point in time, Nupur, no one even dared to go to Mysuma. He was running that entire racket out of Mysuma. No central agency wanted to take any action. And today, finally, we are saying that he's been sent behind bars to his rightful place. But the question is that, is this enough?
Well, in the beginning of the show, it was said, you know, it's over. No, it's not over. It ain't over till it's over. Let's remember that. I heard on another channel, some NIA lawyer come on record and say that in case the sentencing is not capital punishment, we are going to appeal before the higher court. Let's remember, this is a 2017 terror funding case. This is not the 1990 case wherein Yasin Malik is actually accused, and it is currently under hearing, the matter is sub judice, is accused of attacking 40 and killing 4 Jawans of the IAF, including squadron leader Khanna, whose wife I heard as well today. The entire situation here is, there is a lot of difference. Nobody is calling Yasin Malik for whining and dining at the PMO. Nobody is actually eulogizing him as a, you know, liberal leader. He is what he is, a terrorist, and a terrorist is a terrorist is a terrorist. I was asked a particular question, and I want to actually now get to that. I just take 20 more seconds, please. I was asked what the BJP is doing. You know, ever since in 2019, when Article 370 and 35A were abrogated, this is a statement given by the MOS Home before the Rajya Sabha in April 2022. Let's have some facts and figures. After the 2019 abrogation, 87 civilians, and perhaps adding today 88 civilians and 99 security personnel have been killed.
See, we are getting killed every day. My brothers and sisters are getting killed. Don't tell me facts.
I request you, I can't debate like this.
No, we are getting killed.
I request you, I'll not speak if somebody else speaks over me.
For God's sake,
you want me to
understand our pain. We are getting killed.
Let her at least complete her point. No one is interrupting you when you made that 1 minute. When you made that monologue, no one was really interrupting you. Let Nupur at least make that let her finish her statement, opening statement, and then we'll open up the debate to others who are also waiting patiently. Nupur, complete your point.
If you have any evidence to the contrary of the statement I am repeating of the Honorable MOS Home before the Parliament, then please prove. Don't heckle me. That's not going to help your case either. Now, previously, this is the statistics after 2019 abrogation are 87 civilians and 99 security personnel, unfortunately. Previously, 177 civilians and 406 security personnel. This is in response to a pointed question. Unfortunately, I'm having to count bodies, but I don't like doing that, yet I would. Now, let's come to terrorist attacks. In 2018, the Valley saw 417 terrorist attacks. In 2019, 255. In 2020, 244. In 2021, 229. As you can say, a very progressive reduction in the terrorist attacks in the Valley. Because a question was asked as to what the BJP is doing, I'm answering. Now, for that young girl who unfortunately was gunned down, it's a bit rich. I see a lot of people since the morning, trying to create a narrative. He's not even defending himself. He's not allowed to defend himself. This is murder of the Indian Constitution and the judiciary and the system. I'm sorry, it's his choice. He has chosen not to be backed by an advocate. Nobody stopped him. And secondly and most importantly, very richly, you call yourself a Gandhian. Untrue. Stop trying to malign the name of the Mahatma. Yasin Malik is anybody but Mahatma Gandhi. At the same time, सुनवाई नहीं हुई है, sentence announce नहीं हुआ है और वहाँ पे पत्थरबाजी शुरू हो गई. So I think you should call it out. जो पत्थर मार रहे हैं, जो बंदूक उठा रहे हैं, वो आतंकवादी हैं, उनकी गलती है. You should not allow उल्टा चोर कोतवाल को डांटे.
Nupur, you spoke about stone pelting. You spoke about stone pelting. Now, the facts in this particular case, the NIA in its charge sheet makes a very important point, and I want Farooq Wani to basically come in. He's a journalist there. You've seen it up front. Now, who was responsible for the stone pelting? Many at that point in time said these were spontaneous acts of protest. Now, let's just talk about facts. This is what the national investigation is saying, and specifically back in 2016, when the protests were violent, 89 cases of stone pelting, other unlawful activities were registered during this period. Do you know who was responsible? Where did the order really come from? It was from Pakistan. Where did the money reach? The Pakistan High Commission. Who collected it? Yasin Malik. Mr. Wani, the point here is that all this while, as some have already pointed out, eulogizing Yasin Malik, his activities, Gandhian. Now, it's a shame that we are going to call him a Gandhian now. And many will not today openly come up and say that, yes, this is the verdict that we were expecting. This is the verdict that should be meted out to a man like Yasin Malik.
See, this verdict came in such a time when the Kashmir is going in the right direction as far as the development and concern. The touristism is a very high now. The influx of tourists are very high as the airport is receiving 100 to and from flights.
Sushil Pandit, tonight are we to really talk about Sushil Pandit? Are we really to talk about tourism?
Yeah.
So tonight you really want us to talk about tourism? Let's just completely whitewash. Let's forget that Yasin Malik was the man who actually killed 4 Indian Air Force officials. And not just that, Kashmiris were also killed. Let's not forget that. For heaven's sake, please don't say now, don't come here and talk about tourism and Kashmir requires tourism right now when you've not been able to give justice to the Kashmiri Pandits till date.
I will come to your point, I will come to your point.
No, please. Sushil Pandit, I want you to respond. No, sorry, Mr. Wani. I don't think so tonight anyone really cares that we are going to talk about tourism. Or we are going to talk about the development. We are talking about justice. Mr. Wani, unless justice is given, unless justice is seen to be done.
I honor
what viewpoint are you talking about? If that is the viewpoint, why don't you tonight tell Sushil Pandit and like Sushil Pandit, several other Kashmiri Pandits?
See, Sushil Pandit, I know him.
Have the courage, do you have the courage, see eye to eye and tell him?
Yeah, just listen to me.
Sushil Pandit, I want you to respond.
I honor the honorable court's verdict. It is no problem, but one thing you have to understand
with a straight face and brazen it out.
You have to understand the gravity of the situation.
Yasin Malik, who
was previously,
I'll tell you what has happened.
Who made the Indian Prime Minister? So why you are ignoring that?
Heckling, please. Can I have a
why you are ignoring
40 seconds to have my peace?
He was
May I, sir? Mr. Wani, you can go and look after your tourists and be on a bean counter, count your money.
Gandhian ideology.
Talking about
Mr. Wani, let you speak. Let Sushil Pandit make his point. Let Sushil Pandit make his point. I'll let you speak.
About the genocide.
Hear him out. You can respond.
You can keep selling your houseboat rooms.
Sushil Pandit and Mr. Wani. Sushil Pandit and Mr. Wani, please.
Yes. You see, today, as a community, we Kashmiri Hindus feel let down. I have few points to make, and kindly, not to the people from Kashmir who are sitting here to whitewash everything, but to those who claim to be our friends and sympathizers. This case is of 2017, and you see a sentence in 2022. What about the cases of 1990 March? Where are they hanging fire? Isn't this a great irony of our criminal justice system? Who gave the clemency to Yasin Malik on all those crimes of genocide, massacre, rape, abduction? What happened to those crimes? Is anybody asking those questions? Number two, in 2019, when in February, Yasin Malik was arrested, you know what more thing happened? JKLF was banned. Do you imagine JKLF, a terror organization, a jihadi organization, operating since 80s, was banned in 2019? Are we asking people question what is happening? Number three, what is happening to the genocide trials? Today we are trying him on the charges of only terror funding, belonging to a terror organization, plotting against the country. What about murders and massacres? When will those trials begin? Have you heard of Bitta Karate? The murder of Satish Tikku is being tried by Satish Tikku's family, not the government. Government should have been the prosecutor in that case. When Rajiv Gauba, the then Home Secretary in 2019, arrested Yasin Malik, he charged him with genocide of Kashmiri Hindus. That is what he said in his press conference. He gave a written press note which mentions the word genocide. That is what he was arrested for in February 2019.
Sushil.
Where are those charges? Where is that trial?
Yeah.
Today, it is an eyewash. He will not rot in jail. Tomorrow, some of his cohorts will take people hostages, and this government, this nation will come on its knees to exchange him for the freedom of those hostages. We don't want this man to be alive even a minute more. This guy should be hanged by the nearest lamppost. He is soaked in our blood from top to bottom.
Just bear me out,
and
Sushil
he
Pandit.
was turned into a tycoon. He
Sushil
was
Pandit.
turned into a tycoon by successive governments.
No, I want to show
This
those pictures.
school dropout, street urchin became such a wealthy man, such a powerful man, such a popular man. He was declared youth icon by a media house.
Sushil, see what I have in my
Can we ask
hand.
them these questions?
Of course, we will ask those questions.
Can we prosecute those who gave him a passport?
I want to show those pictures,
prosecute
Sushil.
those who took him to US?
Sushil, I'll show those pictures. I'll show those pictures. Let me show those pictures. Now that you're speaking about these pictures, and everybody on this panel is an Indian citizen, everyone is. Everyone believes in the Constitution, right? Now let me show you the pictures of Yasin Malik with Manmohan Singh. You are referring to those pictures, right? Let me show you the pictures now. Let's show the pictures of Yasin Malik being celebrated. His hands, greeting Manmohan Singh, that's him. Manmohan Singh, you could rarely see Manmohan Singh emote in those days. He's very happy, smiling in this picture with Yasin Malik. There are many other pictures of Yasin Malik, right? There are pictures of Yasin Malik. There you see Yasin Malik with Farooq Abdullah. And there are some more pictures. Let's show you those pictures of Yasin Malik with this person called Arundhati Roy, right? Who spends most of her time outside India. And there are pictures of Yasin Malik sitting with Hafiz Saeed. Look at those pictures. I'm sure most of my friends from Kashmir here have come to Mumbai at some point. Hafiz Saeed masterminded the 26/11 attacks, right? 300 people died, close to 300 people, during the attack after the attack. And all of you told us on this show that you believe in the courts, right? You know what the courts have said today? I want to read out one paragraph. I'll read out one paragraph and then I'll bring in Amit Raina and Abdul Mir Magami. You know what the court has said? These crimes, and this is just one of the cases against Yasin Malik, just one of the cases. The courts have said these crimes were intended to strike at the heart of the idea of India and intended to forcefully secede Jammu and Kashmir from Union of India. The crime becomes more serious as it was committed with the assistance of foreign powers, designated terrorists. The seriousness of crime is further increased by the fact that it was committed behind the smokescreen of an alleged peaceful political movement, right? He's no youth icon. He's not fighting for any youth in Jammu and Kashmir. He's fighting for a few dollars from America. American money that was routed to Pakistan, and from Pakistan was basically giving money to him. Look at this. The judge says, in my opinion, there was no reformation of this convict. So Sushil Pandit is right. For over 30 years, you let him be. You celebrated him. Shravan has some more details. Shravan, I'll just read one more line and hand it over to you. As discussed in the order on charge, the convict did not desist from violence, rather betraying the good intentions of government. He took a different path to orchestrate violence in the guise of political struggle. Shravan has some more breaking news updates, and then I'll get in Amit Raina and Magami. Shravan.
Well, in fact, Niranjan, I would like to tell all our panelists right now, we are really fortunate to have the man who had investigated this case. He was the IGNIA. He's currently the ADG posted in Andamans. Mr. Anil Shukla is joining us on this broadcast. Mr. Shukla, thank you very much. It's difficult for serving officers to be convinced to come on TV, but tonight it's an important day for this country. The man who was walking free for years put together has finally been put behind bars only because of the work that has been put by you and several others in the National Investigation Agency. So tonight, on behalf of the entire nation, we need to salute officers like you who've done a fantastic job, sir. Your first thoughts, and I would like all my panelists to also hear, for the first time, Anil Shukla is speaking out.
Thank you very much. This is a very satisfying order today, and I must give credit to my team and the leadership who has accorded immense opportunity to us. And when we started investigating this case, it was a tricky case to gather evidence in difficult terrain and difficult situations. But the team has stood up, and today's order has reinforced the faith in the judicial setup, as well as the fact that when your intentions are pure, you can find anything, and anything is possible.
Mr. Shukla, can I take the liberty of asking you this, because now it's a matter of it's put on public, it's a public document, it's out in the open. The links that Yasin Malik had with Pakistan and the evidence that was gathered by your team. I want you to tell the nation today that what sort of evidence did the NIA really get that actually worked today for getting this conviction?
So the evidence is there in the charge sheet. I have nothing much to add other than the fact that, the terror funding modules which were operating in terms of Hawala, in terms of LOC trade, also in terms of various fake accounts and the educational setup which was being used to gather money was exposed during the investigation. And today orders is a clear testimony to that fact.
One final question, Mr. Shukla, before I let you go. I was there on the day when those raids were being carried out in Srinagar. No one really thought that the National Investigation Agency would be able to do something completely unimaginable, getting inside places which were largely seen as a stronghold of the Hurriyat. I just want you to end this conversation with telling us the difficulties that the NIA actually faced in carrying out the investigation. Was there any sort of resistance that you all faced when the raids were being carried out, when the arrests were actually made?
I think NIA did a thorough professional job, and there were difficult situations and difficulties to carry out raids, but I think they were done with the help of security agencies, the JNK police, the CRPF, and we did a commendable job in collecting all the evidence. And the entirely credit goes to the team and the leadership which was associated, and the investigating officers. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Anil Shukla, for taking out the time and for speaking to Republic TV, and also for all the people who are watching us. Let me just straight away take this to Smita. Smita, you've heard Anil Shukla speaking to us, putting out all the details of the investigation that's been carried out. Earlier in the broadcast, we've had a former DG and also another officer who's played a very crucial role in this entire investigation. And some people say that there was a time that no one really thought that this was possible. That Yasin Malik, man who was dining with politicians here in the national capital, had direct access to the Pakistan High Commission, he would be now behind bars. You've heard Anil Shukla speaking right now.
Yeah, hats off to the law enforcement officers who worked on this case, whether it was investigating this case or pulling this man out from his hideout, from his, why should we even call it hideout? He was in open, he was living in Mysuma, he was there, he was openly meeting everybody, but to get him out, to put him behind bars, to do the investigation with the knowledge that the case would be argued properly in court. That's another big thing that police officers face. They might do the investigation, but if it is not argued properly in case, the case falls and these people walk out, which has been happening all the time. And, I can understand when Mr. Pandit gets very upset. Of course, because this was one of the softer cases that Yasin Malik has faced. There are the others, the cold-blooded murders that he's been part of. That has not yet come up. That has to come up. The genocide. All these things have to come up, and he has to be really, all these things he has to be prosecuted. And not just him, there are so many others. They will just die of old age because the pendency in our judiciary is so much. But thank God for the fact that at least now there is a political will to push this to some extent, because it's not enough just for law enforcement to do it. It needs the willpower, it needs all the machinery to work together. Because are you trying to tell me that there is no way that that he could not, he went into the Pakistan High Commission, or he was taking part in all these talks, he was traveling abroad, on the passport, on an Indian passport? How did all this happen? If it was not the intelligence agencies, the bureaucracy, everybody hand in glove at that time to give all this to the Hurriyat, to not just Yasin Malik, the entire lot. Why do we forget? And he was when you see the anger in many people, and when you see the restraint, that the Air Force officer's wife shows. Why? Yes. Because years and years. Can we even imagine the agony that she must have gone through? We cannot. None of us can imagine the agony that any of those Air Force officers' wives or the Ganju family, anybody, has gone through when this man boasts on the BBC interview about how it was justified. Because the Air Force personnel, why? They were sitting ducks. Why? It is justified. Because it was a cause. It was the so-called cause. And you just ran a bite of Mehbooba Mufti. Can you imagine? Her sister was kidnapped. And she has the guts, she has the bandwidth to even praise Pakistani judiciary today. To say that about Yasin Malik is, how the absurdity of all of this, the hypocrisy of all of this. And I can well understand, when young Kashmiris come on your program and they're frustrated and they're angry, or even seasoned Kashmiris, whether Hindu, Muslim, anybody, the frustration, I can well imagine. That, why doesn't this move faster? Because many people, let me tell you, even young Kashmiris, they see it as a window. They see this as a window that here is a political party that is willing to push this and bring about normalcy, bring Kashmir into the same level as a Chhattisgarh or as a Telangana or as a Rajasthan or as a Uttar Pradesh, and bring it to the mainstream. They see this as a window that all those who killed and who were responsible for genocide, bring them to justice.
Yeah. No, those are pictures. You made a mention. That's Nirmal Khanna. If I can just put her in the middle instead of putting my pictures there. Let's go back to those pictures. That's her. She was sitting there. In fact, that's Nirmal. Yeah.
The years and years, Niranjan, that she has spent in just looking at those pictures.
Yeah.
And seeing killer of her husband being faked and going on air on TV channels. Can you imagine the frustration? But being a service officer's wife, she keeps it to herself. She didn't say it out, but she kept it to herself. She didn't rant. She didn't go on TV channels and rant like many of us would have wanted to do at that stage. Yeah. But she kept her cool. She has waited all these years, and even now, she has faith on a judiciary which has let her down.
In fact, she said to Republic TV, she was watching, in one of those videos where she's looking at the screen, we were sitting with her and she was tracking Republic to see what happens to Yasin Malik. And her first reaction when it came, Shawan, was that she's not happy. She says it's just one of the cases. She's still hoping after 32 years that in the other cases at least, he will face justice. And you know what? While walking into the studio, just an anecdote, I was just walking into the studio right now, and because we work in a newsroom, there are so many TV screens. So I was just looking at the other channels, and one of these channels, the Lutyens channels, the quotes, what we call a quote graphic, they had put quotes of what Yasin Malik had said about being Gandhian. For God's sake, and this is what the quote has said. I want to actually mention what the quote said about this killer, mentioning that he is a Gandhian. Here's what the quote said, not me. Here's what the quote said, okay? And this is for the other channels that quoted Yasin Malik claiming that he's a Gandhian. The quote said, "The convict has claimed that he had followed Gandhian principle of non-violence and was spearheading a peaceful non-violent struggle. However, the evidence on the basis of which charges were framed and to which convict has pleaded guilty speaks otherwise. The entire movement was planned to be a violent movement and large-scale violence ensued is a matter of fact." I mean, can you imagine how many people had fallen for this nonsense, this Gandhian nonsense, and embraced killers like him until 10 to 15 years ago? I want to get Amit Raina. Amit Raina hasn't spoken. Amit Raina, I want to get you in. And then I'll get Magami also hasn't spoken. Amit Raina and then Magami will respond. Amit Raina, please.
See, it has taken 32 years for the wheels of justice to move forward. It has moved forward by an inch, but at least it has started moving forward. But what I want to say is that only capital punishment to Yasin Malik for his genocidal crimes against Kashmiri Hindus and Sikhs will quench our thirst for justice. Nothing else will do. A man who Lutyens media today calls Gandhian is a man who formed joint resistance leadership in 2010 and 2016, leading to the deaths of 110 people in 2010 and 120 in 2016. He's a man who went and burned schools and government buildings in 2010 and 2016. He's a man who has gone and defended killing activities of Hizbul Mujahideen, Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed. So I don't know what kind of Gandhian goes and defends terror killings. He's a Gandhian who has gone on record saying that I am proud of what I have done by killing 4 Air Force officers. I am proud of killing Justice Neelkanth Ganji, who's not even shown remorse. And you call him Gandhian. I think the court is right by saying that he has been a fake. And it is, while I'm disappointed with the judgment, disappointed in the sense that the conviction should have been of capital punishment, at least the wheels of justice have started moving forward. And let me assure you, and let me tell Supreme Court also today, that we will continue to pursue the cases. You may have dismissed my petition in 2017, but today's judgment, with curative petition lying with you, I'm sure you will now go and take a suo motu cognizance of what has happened in the last 32 years. You will go and prosecute this guy. You will form an SIT to fast-track the cases of Kashmiri Pandit genocide, the 4 Air Force officers killing, and 15,000 civilians that have been killed in Kashmir, 5,000 Air Force, 5,000 Army personnel in Jammu Kashmir, police personnel who have been killed. This cannot, and people who are defending Yasin Malik today should be also charged with crimes of genocide and supporting terror activities. Mehbooba's Mufti should be ashamed. And it tells you the network. It tells you the collaboration between the politicians and the terror networks in Kashmir. Rubia Saeed was kidnapped by Yasin Malik. And today, Mehbooba Mufti is going and defending the man who kidnapped her sister. It tells you the network they have. It tells you that Rubia Saeed kidnapping was all a drama. It had the hands of Saeed's family. Mufti Saeed was involved in the kidnapping. And what did they do? They went and let go of 5 hardcore terrorists, bringing Kashmir, making Kashmir from bad to worse.
I want to get my friend Magami. Magami, with the kind of proof that has been put in front of the courts based on which this conviction has happened, do you think, and do you back the conviction? Do you think it's about time that Yasin Malik is punished?
Yeah, whatever court's decision, I accepted it. But my question is, BJP is still doing a politics in the name of Kashmir and Kashmir.
Yasin Malik, my friend.
Because
what is
let me finish.
Stick to Yasin Malik.
Do
you welcome the?
Let me finish first. Because BJP has failed to provide a political situation in Kashmir. They failed to rehabilitate Kashmiri Pandits. They failed to generate employment. In सब पे पर्दा डालने के लिए यासिन मलिक सिर्फ बलि का बकरा बन रहा है.
What? You're calling him a bali ka bakra?
Oh.
Definitely.
You called him a bali ka bakra?
Oh.
सिर्फ इन पे पर्दा डालने के लिए उसको बलि का बकरा बना रहे हैं.
No. 1 second.
सिर्फ because BJP has failed to provide
Bali ka bakra.
situation.
I'll let Nupur respond.
Bechara, no. There starts the narrative, like I said earlier, Bechara Yasin Malik. I think he's right, Mr. Raina. People like him also needs to be dragged. I'm going to take a copy of this from you. Perhaps make an example out of whatever his name is before the courts in the current sub judice matter. And there was a point said about, these courts running, that I'm a Gandhian. You know how this fancy narrative is set up? I did not speak over anybody. I please request nobody speaks over me. I cannot really debate like this. It's unfair.
It's unfair. I'll give you 30 seconds. I'll give you 30 seconds.
Put him down.
No.
Put him down.
He's listening to you. I'll give him 30 seconds after you're finished.
We need to stop as much as it's important to expose, I'm sorry I'm going to use this, idiots like him who support terrorists. It is equally important to not give them extra airtime because he wants to make it sound fanciful. That sometimes there's an entire parade of people behind Yaqub Memons and this fool Yasin Malik. The fact of the matter is, why don't these media houses who awarded Yasin Malik, Niranjan, I have a question. Why don't these media houses also show his statement? Not only 1987, we were active as militants and terrorists prior to 1987, and I have to come in and agree with Smita Prakash. It's a question of political will. Let's not forget in the 1990s, it was the Congress government which actually petitioned before the NHRC, the National Human Rights Commission, and said Kashmiri Pandits were not cleansed. There was no exodus. There was no migration. They were not forced to leave. They left of their own volition. In a way, completely whitewashing all the violence meted out to the Kashmiri Pandit community. That's the basic difference. It's a small step, I agree. And I'm also proponent of this idiot Yasin Malik to be sent to gallows and alongside the ancillary helpers this idiot heckling me. Who is this idiot who's trying to eulogize?
No. Okay. Just calm down on the adjectives. Nupur, his name is Abid Mir Magami. Abid Mir Magami, you can disagree with him. You can disagree with him. You can debate with him. That's okay, Nupur. No, I'm as angry as you are when he says bicha bali ka bakra. I mean, what are you talking about, Abid? You called him. I'll get Sushil Pandit. No, what do you mean bali ka bakra?
I'm already told.
You started by saying I respect the courts, and then I
respect the court.
Then why are you defending Yasin Malik? Why are you calling him bali ka bakra? Why are you calling him bali ka bakra?
But my question is, Sushil ji told you who gave him password. It was the Vajpayee's government who issued the password to him.
Sushil Pandit is responding to you.
Agree?
Let Sushil Pandit respond to you.
So,
you took his name, let him respond.
So what? I am saying successive governments have treated him with kid gloves. Do you know there was a Prime Minister called Indra Kumar Gujral? He inaugurated the Hurriyat office in Delhi. Do you know that?
What about Vajpayee ji? What about Vajpayee ji? Just the one-to-one meeting ki Hurriyat.
Vajpayee ji gave him passport.
Why you afraid? Why you afraid? Why you afraid? आप डर क्यों रहे हैं बीजेपी का नाम लेने से? आप डर क्यों रहे हैं बीजेपी का नाम लेने से? आप डर क्यों रहे हैं बीजेपी का नाम लेने से? वाजपेयी जी ने 1-to-1 मीटिंग की हुर्रियत पर के साथ डर क्यों रहे हो?
मुझे तो आपसे डर लग रहा है।
No, who is one second. I'm failing to understand. Abid, what are you even saying? Abid, 1 minute. Abid, one second. Abid, did Manmohan, 1 second. Did Manmohan? No. Abid, did Manmohan government? What are you even saying? Did Manmohan government go after Yasin Malik and the separatists?
Niranjan.
Or did Modi government go after the separatists? What are you even saying? What are you even saying?
आपने विजुअल्स दिखाए। आपने विजुअल्स दिखाए।
या क्या है विजुअल बोलो? हाँ विजुअल दिखाया। हाँ मनमोहन सिंह या you were shaking hands with मनमोहन सिंह. Yes दिखाया था विजुअल. क्या है प्रॉब्लम क्या है?
What kind of logic is
No, I don't remember. No, I don't remember. Tell me if I'm wrong. Yasin, I haven't seen Yasin. Has Yasin Malik? 1 minute. Has Yasin Malik ever met Vajpayee? What are you even saying? He hasn't met Vajpayee. Smita wants to say something. Smita saying something. Smita and Akib Rensusha. Smita saying something.
Yeah, just to put it a little bit in perspective, I began by saying that, our governments internationally faced a lot of pressure in those years, in the 90s and early 2000s, in the thousands. It was extremely difficult. We faced a lot of pressure from international forces, from America, from Europe, to talk to the Hurriyat. Just remember, the Hurriyat was created by a woman called Robin Raphael from the American State Department. There was a lot of pressure on us. Ab tum ye nahi karoge to tumko wo nahi milega. Tum ye nahi karoge. So there was, and Vajpayee ji, he ran a coalition government. He did not have the capacity, and he had this desire Pakistan ke saath rishte nibhane hain, rishte improve karne hain. So there was a lot that happened. And see what happened. See, we got Kargil, didn't we? It was a mistake. There have been mistakes committed in the past by several prime ministers. When you talked about Gujral, somebody talked about Gujral out here. Gujral had this policy also. He actually believed that if we don't, he disbanded many of the black ops that were happening in the country by the intelligence organizations. So there have been mistakes in the past. That is why I said that now we are in a situation where the political will is there to battle this militancy, and there should be no rollbacks at this stage. That is extremely important, that the path which has been charted out, there should be no rethinking and no rollback.
But Smita, there is now already an attempt. You already heard what Abid was essentially saying. Balika Bakra. What we saw glorifying a Maqbool Bhatt. There is an attempt already that has started. Saddam Shah, there is already this wheel that has started rolling right now in Jammu and Kashmir.
That's Kargil.
The fact here is that
the shooting is also probably that. There will be attempts by those fringe elements to try and disrupt peace in Kashmir as a retaliation to the event today. Calling him Balika Bakra on a television is just a small version. There will be on the ground also, and that is the challenge for our law enforcement today.
Mr. Kargili, will you?
Yeah, after this.
Yeah.
After listening the entire debate, I'm glad that now the BJP panelist is taking name of Gandhi time to time, and I must say that they should take Gandhi's name even during the they do politics in Delhi and other places of India, and they hate those people who are worshipping Nathuram Godse.
This debate is about Yasin Malik. Mr. Kargili's debate is about Yasin Malik, who killed people, including IAF officers who, by the way, where you are right now, keep you and me safe, the entire country safe. So please be careful about what you say about Yasin Malik.
Court has given verdict. I have nothing to say about Yasin Malik. He has confessed his all crimes. And court has given verdict. But the thing is, when those people who are glorifying Godse and they are speaking against Yasin Malik, this is hypocrisy. This is BJP's hypocrisy.
I was hoping that you'll have a stronger argument. On the debate. Okay, Nupur is responding to you. I'll let Nupur respond to you. I was hoping that he had a stronger argument.
5 seconds. Perhaps, it doesn't help. It doesn't help to come unprepared on television. Perhaps he doesn't pay attention to what the Prime Minister says. He often remembers the Mahatma. always listen to his speeches.
Yes, in Europe, when he
he's the Prime
visits
Minister
Europe
of the
and
country,
America.
it will teach you a lot of
Yes,
things. And
yes,
point number
when he visits
Niranjan,
Europe and
I
America.
did not heckle him.
Here,
And then I'll
Mr.
start
Kargili.
shouting.
Here, Nupur
I'll start
Kargili.
shouting.
Yes.
I'll
Mr.
start
Kargili, hear her
shouting. Please.
No,
please.
he's listening to you. He's listening
Please.
to you. He's listening to you.
And why it's important to read. Why it's important to read, Niranjan. Why it's important to read is because those who eulogize and pray before Godse built a temple in the name of Godse. A leader called Babulal Chaurasia belongs to the Congress party in Madhya Pradesh. So perhaps his question is not pointed in the right direction. He needs to ask this question of Kamal Nath, who garlanded and inducted a person like Babulal Chaurasia. And again, I would say, listen to the Honorable Prime Minister Shri Modi ji, his speeches, not Yasin Malik's speeches. It's not going to help you. It's perhaps going to make you answer.
Nobody is listening to Yasin Malik's speeches.
It's going to perhaps put you behind
Nobody
bars,
is listening.
just like Mr. Yasin Malik. No, you clearly do.
Yasin
because
Malik
you don't
has
know
been
anything.
convicted.
It's clear.
Close
you
his
don't know
topic.
anything.
He has
And
been
anyway,
convicted.
I don't want to get off the topic. I want to stay on the topic. I want to stay on the topic. Yasin Malik and his friends, this is a warning for you. And I'll tell you something. As much as evidence can be collected, as we heard former NIA IG, I believe, Mr. Anil Shukla, we are going to ensure that you and all your cohorts are put behind bars. Yes, JKLF was banned because the Congress governments allowed the ban to fall through after extending only in one term in 94. That's it. And after that, it took a Narendra Modi government and his political will to actually formally and for future ban JKLF.
Then do the jumle baat.
Arey yaar, you first tell me, is Yasin Malik a badra? Is Yasin Malik a bali ka bakra? Or are you an idiot? Just answer this much. Anybody who is going to support a terrorist on a national
I have
television
nothing
debate
to do with Yasin
whether
Malik.
Niranjan likes it or he doesn't.
My younger brothers and sisters are getting killed.
Okay,
Then tell me what is
where were you then?
Don't tell
You're
me.
the one.
We can do without the name calling.
Where were you when Hindus were killed? Niranjan, 1 second.
Yeah.
Where were you when Hindus were getting killed? Today you're doing this drama.
No, he wasn't born.
Why did you not actually speak for Girija Tikku? Why have you? So what?
I'm not
So
doing
what?
I'm not
So
doing
what? A
drama.
crime
I'm not
doesn't
doing
end.
drama.
So what?
God is bloody
Hindus are
Julebazi.
still killed.
Sir,
So what?
अरे क्या ये
So what?
belly dance
So what?
करके- Don't do
Our
this belly
security
dance
personnel
drama
are
over
still
here.
What dance? Sorry, what dance? What dance? No, what? One second. Akib, Renzusha, what dance? What did you just say? What dance?
Just tell me what is your policy to say about our
What
Kashmir?
dance? No. What did you say? No. What did you tell? What did you tell Nupur?
So, listen, BJP
No. What did you say? What? No. What dance did you say? No. Repeat. No. Akib. What did you say? Akib.
I'm repeating. Yeah. I'll repeat. I'm repeating. Yes, BJP is just doing belly dance. Just doing Julebazi with whole nation.
No. Take that back. Take that back. Akib, not required. Akib, take that back. Akib, take that back. Take that back.
I'm not going to take back.
You were addressing a BJP spokesperson. Take that back. You were addressing Nupur, and no, take that back. You said belly dancing. Don't do that. That's a sexist comment. Don't do that. Don't do that. Akib, that's wrong. When it's not done. Okay, take that back. Take that back. Take that back. Apologize. Take that back, Akib. Akib, otherwise you're a sensible guy. Take that back. You're a sensible guy. Apologize and let's move on. 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 Akib, take that back. Take that back, Akib. Apologize.
I didn't.
You said it. You said it. Everyone heard it. Everyone heard it.
I have that much ethics.
Niranjan,
I have
can I just come in?
You were referring to her, Akib.
Allow me to please.
Okay, Nupur wants to say something and I'll end the debate. Nupur, last word to Nupur. I'll end the debate after that.
Niranjan, he made this statement when I started talking about the plight of Kashmiri Hindus and Kashmiri Pandits. You know what this exposes? Even of this young, I was not born that 25-year-old. The fact that his forefathers were the ones who said apni aurtein piche chhod do aur mard yahan se nikal jao. This is the mentality that we have to fight against. For him, I'm a kufr, I'm a Hindu woman, so he'll call me a belly dancer. Oh, you shut up. And please stop
Not
exposing
required.
yourselves all of you will be taken to task.
No, that's an inappropriate comment. That's an inappropriate comment. Akib, we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. Not needed. Not needed. You know, not needed, Akib. Akib, it's not needed. When she called Magami an idiot, she took that back, okay? We stopped her at that. Not required. Learn to speak, Akib. Learn to speak. You say that you're a young leader. Learn to speak. Lead by example. Learn how to speak. And be measured when you speak. Taking a short break. Thank you, everyone. Taking a short break. Coming back with the other big debate. A TV artist has been killed. We're focusing on that and why the Azadi shop has been shut. Coming up next at 10 p.m. Shawan.